What's up, fragrance connoisseurs? Welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to do another installment of From Decant to Full Bottle. Fragrances that were so good when I sampled them, I had to get a full bottle. This episode that we're going to do this time is going to deal with some fragrances that aren't on everybody's radar. We're going to give you some pretty unique instances of fragrances that to me are unique in their scent DNA and profile, and also garner a lot of compliments and are ones that maybe for the most part, I do have a couple that are kind of basically have gone around through the cycles of different people in the fragrance community. But for the most part, we're going to give you some offerings that not everybody's talking about, so you can get a different perspective of some fragrances that, in my opinion, are great to experience, great to sample, and a great addition to anyone's fragrance collection. So stay tuned for station identification as we go into another one of From Decant to Full Bottle. Stick around. All right, fragrance connoisseurs, we're back, and we want to kind of get into some of the things that I want to explain of why I go from decant to full bottle. I'm a fragrance connoisseur. I really am enamored with the fragrances that I buy, and I know a lot of times people may say, well, you talk so highly about the fragrances that you feature on the channel. For the most part, all of the fragrances that I have on the channel are my own, and I paid my own money for it. Of course, if you're gonna buy fragrances, you're not gonna buy a fragrance that you think is just simply mid or things like that. I have a rating scale, and I'm gonna try to be more true to the rating scale as we get into things where 10 out of 10 is exceptional. I know sometimes even if I say, okay, it's 11 out of 10 or 12 out of 10, that shows you how much I love it even that much more. However, in my book, if it's a 7.5 or above, then that's in the top 25% of the scale range that you have, and that's going to be a great fragrance that definitely was worth it to me to be a full bottle presentation. So just wanted to kind of give that, and I will try to make sure I stay true to that rating scale, and to make sure that sometimes my ratings are not weighted just because of any type of situation where I may go to 11 or 12. But if I go to 11 or 12, it's going to really be an exceptional fragrance. The first one that we're going to talk about, and I think I did kind of mention this one is from Gritti, and this is Mango Aoud. Now, shout out to my guy, and that is Duck212. Duck212 was the one who sent me this decant from Sense Angel. He sent it to me, and from the time that I had it, I actually thought it was a great fragrance. I put it on skin and I wore it as a full wearing. He gave me a 5 ml sample, which is really great, and I started looking for where I can find this one. So Mango Aoud is kind of a play on having a sweet, ripe fruit and marrying it with a nice, pungent oud fragrance, so that there is a great contrast between the two. This is one that I would say sample. Some people are not oud lovers, and some people do not like a kind of traditional oud type smell. This isn't overly barnyard or animalic, but it is going to be a pungent oud smell, so you want to make sure. But there are a lot of fragrances that are kind of in this same vein. Sear Al Kalamat by Arabian Oud, or Kalamat Black as it's also known. That is one that's gonna have kind of like a dried or candied fruit, and mixing it with an oud type base, which is a really nice blend that I think comes off very, very well. Another one that also takes kind of a sweet and mixes it with that traditional oud would be Virtus by Vanilla Oud by Virtus. So those are what's kind of in the same type of neighborhood. However, Gritti takes Mango Aoud and really accentuates the ripe, sweet mango note, and then marries it with that oud base. It prominently, again, features the oud note, and it is mainly a play of mango and oud. The oud in here can be seen as a bit challenging, but it is mellowed out by this sweet, ripe mango that makes it really appealing. There is some neroli that does give it a slight soapy backbone to it, and then along with the other florals like a banana type ylang-ylang, which also lends to that kind of tropical feel. It then just sweetens it a little and goes into a really nice dry down. And as it goes further and further into the dry down, the oud becomes more woody and less on the kind of pungent oud. But it does keep a nice pungent traditional oud throughout the wearing, and it is a very nice one. I suggest you get a sample, but this one is one that is well worth getting your nose on. The notes, if we want to go into the notes, I know a lot of times people say the notes aren't really important. They are, in a sense of you need to get kind of a background feel of what is appealing to your taste. And a lot of things, like I learned cardamom is appealing to my taste, so much so that I got a sample of cardamom that was just a single note by itself, so I could smell it and understand what I was smelling in the blends and what I was perceiving in different fragrances. But getting into the notes, it's mango, guava, and neroli. That's off the top. Then it's coconut milk, ylang-ylang, and osmanthus in the mid. And in the base, it is oud, vanilla, and amber. This is one that can be worn year-round. I would even say that it is 4 seasons. In the really cold weather, this may not be the best, and it also may not be the best in the hottest of warm weather. But this is one that's pretty versatile that you can wear a lot of times. Next, we will talk about another, and this one is a very unique, even though now I have seen a couple of fragrances with this type of scent DNA or scent profile, but this one is Wet Stone by Amouroud. Now, Wet Stone is one that gives you a photorealistic type feel, and this one is transportive in the fact that it gives you a feeling that you're on the beach, and that the smooth sandstones that people sometimes will skip across lakes and things like that, that you have a smooth sandstone that is kind of right under your feet while you're walking on the beach, and that sea and salt water is washing up against that sandstone. You pick that sandstone up and put it to your nose, and you get a mix of kind of that sandstone and the sea and sea salt and the sea water that is in it at the same time. It is a very, very unique fragrance. Something that when I tested it and tried it out, I wanted to get it right away. I still bring this with me and travel with me, so I fill this up every once in a while. The Decant, you can unscrew it and refill it. So I take this in my bag when I'm traveling because I really like it. It's definitely a summer scent, but it is a transportive scent that if you wanted to be reminded of that kind of seashore and the waves against the sandstone type rock. This one would be one that even in the wintertime in the house, if you wanted to be transported to that, you could get it. So very, very interesting, very unique. There are some ones that now have a similar type feel to me, but this one came out in 2019, and the notes that it has, it starts with sea salt, lemon, and bergamot. Then in the middle, it is mineral notes, ginger, sage, and cardamom. And then in the base is ambergris, vetiver, cedar, agarwood, and patchouli. The agarwood in here is really like a blonde agarwood. You really don't get any kind of pungent traditional oud smell in this one. But this one is very photorealistic, and one that if you like that transportation or transportive type fragrance that is going to give you a realistic scent memory, this would be one to go with. Amouroud by Whetstone. The next one is kind of one that has been hyped up a little bit, and I got a full discovery set on this one from the Harmonist, and this one is the Harmonist Hypnotizing Fire. So I did buy a full bottle of the Hypnotizing Fire. Hopefully with the way that glass reflects off, it will get into focus. But this is one that I think started with Kevin Samuels, and he basically hyped it up a whole lot, but the hype is real. This is a fragrance that takes spiciness in the opening and marries it with a Bulgarian rose, and then it also is blended with some gourmand notes such as praline and vanilla. Papillon is also in the base, and then a resinous vanilla-like benzoin. So this gives you a very nice opening. It is spicy. There's pimento berries, there's pepper that is in the opening, and juniper berries, and it gives you a very inviting opening that's bright and catches your attention, and it then blends in a very dark, seductive Bulgarian rose. It is more of a natural to waxy type rose. It is not a sweet rose, and that rose works very well into the transition from that bright opening. And then it mixes in the praline and the vanilla and the benzoin and the resins of the apopanox and things like that, that gives you a very semi-gourmand feel, but with the roses. This would be one that I would say is a date night approved. Is something that you definitely would want to wear in close encounters. I can tell you the reactions that I get when I wear this is definitely something that garners compliments, and that people feel that it is a very sensual, it is a very inviting fragrance. I've been told that you shouldn't wear this without your wife type vibes on this one. It is one that I believe that EQ has talked about being associated with Kevin Samuels. Bowtie Fragrance Guy has also talked about this one. Some people say it should come with a contraceptive, because if you wear it, you may be having babies. I don't know if it is a baby maker, but I can say that almost everyone that has encountered this fragrance has found it appealing, has found it to be one that is a compliment magnet, and I've never gotten someone that was just like, it's okay. You really will get a lot of compliments. This is one to have. This is the Parfum edition. I do have the EDP that I bought just to refill, and I put it in another a bottle. It does give you the same type of vibe, but to me, the Parfum edition lasts longer and has better longevity. And even the projection for the first few hours is about the same, but this one definitely outperforms the EDP. I think it is worth it to get the Parfum edition over the EDP. The next one is Reflection 45. And this is a stellar fragrance. Reflection 45. Make sure I get that in the focus. Looks like it is. So Reflection 45 is the higher concentrated version of Reflection Man and from Amouage. Now, Reflection 45 is very similar in some ways. You do get the Reflection Man type DNA and scent profile. However, it's deeper, darker, and richer. That this is one where Reflection Man, I would say you could wear in the high heat. This one I would say is still a 4 season, it's signature scent, but I would not wear it in the high heat. That it's a little denser than Reflection Man, and it doesn't come across as well when it's really, really hot outside, in my opinion. However, everybody can wear their fragrances like they want to wear it. But this to me is a CEO big boss fragrance. This is one that I feel like if you have it, you smell like you are in charge, like you're running a meeting, like you are someone who is very confident and is able to take control and be in charge and have people follow what you say. Now, I'm not necessarily saying that you need to have this for confidence, but I'm saying and that you have to be confident, or am I saying that you have to be confident to wear this? No, it is easy wear. It's very compliment getting. But what I can say is that this smells like a very rich, elegant, and stately signature scent that people will notice right off the bat if you are wearing this, that you paid some money for it. It is not a designer type scent. It does not smell designer in my mind, and it has some very good transition. Some of the notes that are different from the Reflection Man, I believe lavender and juniper berries, which are not in Reflection Man. This also, it still has iris where Reflection Man has orris root. Still has that soapy clean type neroli, but that soapy clean kind of shower gel type aspect of it is not as prevalent as it is in Reflection Man. So just going through it, it's lavender, benzoin, juniper berries, pink pepper, cardamom, and clary sage in the opening. In the heart is iris, jasmine, neroli, tonka bean, vanilla, and angelica. In the base, it is a Lebanon, sandalwood, myrrh, opoponax, cedar, vetiver, and patchouli. This is a stellar fragrance. I believe it's one that everyone should get their nose on. It is rather expensive if you get it retail. I believe it has come to discounters and you can get it for a good price. So, Reflection 45 by Amouage, another great one that when I got a sample of it, had to get a full bottle. The next one I will talk about is Bengale Rouge, and this one goes into, here's the full bottle, Bengale Rouge by Papillon. Now, Bengale Rouge is a vanilla scent. However, this is one that is not relatively hyped up or talked about. Papillon is not a house that everyone is basically giving information for, and it's not one that is readily available on the discount websites. If you want this is one where you're going to have to go directly to the manufacturer or someplace like Lucky Scent, and you're more than likely paying somewhere around retail. However, this one is a gourmand that I really like in the vanilla. Now, Bengale Rouge is supposed to mimic kind of the seductive and stealthy mannerisms of a Bengali tiger. So that's where it gets Bengale Rouge from. And it gives you kind of a very seductive, subtle type vanilla feel. It is gourmand. In my opinion, it is spicy, and it gives you a gourmand type of feel. One that is also great around the holidays because that vanilla kind of gives you a holiday Christmas or type of a spicy dessert type vibe. Now it has a spicy honey that is infused with a resinous myrrh that is almost clove and licorice-like, in my opinion, along with Turkish rose and a creamy sandalwood. The vanilla is something that is also prominent in this, like I talked about in the beginning, but it is a very nice honey fragrance infused with that myrrh, so it gives you a resinous structure to it. And again, gourmand. It also has an elegant powderiness to it, so it's elegant, warm, and seductive, and giving you that seductive quality of its namesake and where it was named, titled from the Bengale tiger. So the notes that are in here are myrrh, honey, tonka bean, vanilla, Turkish rose, and sandalwood. This one is an exceptional fragrance and one that you will not see all over the place. You have to like that sweet gourmand because it does have that sweet gourmand type flavor to it, but it is a really nice one and I recommend it. The last one we will talk about is one that I did not get a spray atomizer. I got this from Lucky Scent. It was one of the ones when I bought a fragrance, I had this sent to me, and this is one of the dabbers. However, this one is Thomas DeMonaco Raw Gold. And this one, even from the dabber, even from how I had to experience it, was one that I had to get. This was an exceptional fragrance. I had heard and done some research about Thomas DeMonaco, and Thomas DeMonaco started earlier, I believe in 2020, that Thomas DeMonaco started, and they had a Raw Gold that was an Eau de Parfum, an EDP. However, this one is a flanker, or you could say a reformulation, because the original one is not has been discontinued, and this is an extrait de parfum. One thing about Thomas DeMonaco is that he is not one that is into all of, say, the note pyramids. What he wants to talk about is what you get from the fragrance, and not necessarily the notes that he has that are listed are going to give you an accurate picture of the experience that you're going to have. The original Raw Gold was a vanilla forward, or a honey, not a vanilla forward, a honey fragrance that was very animalic, and it gave you this Raw Gold, which is supposed to be the olfactive experience of what Raw Gold would smell like, or what you would experience. And so the extrait was made by a different perfumer, but however, the extrait is going to get you in that same neighborhood. It cut down a little bit on the animalic part of it, but it still is a raw, organic, animalic bite to it with that honey, even though honey is not a stated note. So I did want to tell you that the original one, I believe, was more animalic, and it had civet, and that it had some other things that gave it more of an animalic boat. But the notes do not line up from the original, and some people talk about that. However, I believe it gets you sort of in the same neighborhood, but it is a less animalic version, but it gives you that raw, organic honey, and it's a thick, sticky honey type vibe to it that dries down exceptionally. So when you want to get into, it is sort of elegant. It does have a slight powderiness to it, that raw honey, and it is a feature of it as it goes on and on. Honey, again, is not the note, but we will go through the notes, but I just wanted to give you what that gives you a feel of. So the notes that they have listed are orris root, davana, and cedar. In the heart, you get suede, patchouli, guaiac wood, and then in the base, you get vanilla, cyan, benzoin, and saffron. So the way this comes off is the honey is immediately evident as you spray it in the initial opening, and it does have a raw, organic type of animalic feel to it as you smell it. As it starts to dry down, the orris root comes out and it gets a little more elegant and powdery, but it always keeps that raw organic honey in the background, stating what Thomas de Monaco's feeling and the perfumer's feeling of what raw gold experience in a olfactory sense would be. The vanilla and the benzoin and the saffron gives it a spiciness that lends to that honey accord, even though honey is not a note. This was one that even when I first dabbed it on, this was one that I had to get. I instantly bought this after I got the sample, and this is one that I think everybody should experience. I think the house is great, and in fact this has opened my eyes to want to explore the house more. I am going to be getting more of Thomas de Monaco's offerings, and I will be presenting them if I find other ones that I am enamored with and bring them to the channel. So there you have it, Fragrance Connoisseurs. That is for my third installment of From Decant to Full Bottle. I hope you enjoyed the video and that I gave you some fragrances that you don't see normally and that you are able to kind of look for to get a sample of and to experience them for yourselves. This is a great journey. I'm your friend and your guide trying to help you through this journey experience. I'm Charm City. Hope you enjoyed the video. Please like, share, comment, and subscribe. Really helps the channel, helps me know that you like it and that I can try to get some fragrances out there to you that not everybody's bringing on a regular basis. Again, hope you enjoyed the video. Take care. God bless.